The email arrived at 3:47
And by the time she
a.m.,
walks off it
and
2
for a
weeks later,
moment,
an entire
it felt
nation
like the world itself had stopped breathing. You know that feeling, right? The one where your stomach drops, where everything goes cold,
has stopped
and you
scrolling,
realize
stopped
that the
working,
life you thought
stopped
you had
everything.
just crumbled into something unrecognizable. It was one of those emails, the kind that doesn't just deliver news, but delivers a verdict. And this particular verdict was about a story so wild, so
Just to watch her play
deeply
tennis.
unsettling,
If
that
you
it's
had
been
told
trapped in my head ever since. You know those stories that feel like they belong in a Netflix documentary, but they actually happen to real people?
laughed you out of the
This is
room,
one of those.
because this simply isn't
It's a
supposed to
story
happen
about a man named David, a marriage
to a
that
player
seemed
from the
perfect,
Philippines,
a
a
dog
country with a
named Buddy, and a world that turned out to be a complete and utter lie. You're going to want to stick around for
national
this one,
sporting
because it just
obsession
gets
has always lived
crazier
somewhere
and
between
crazier. The kind of crazy that makes you want to shake your head and ask yourself, is this actually real? So, settle
boxing
in.
gyms and
Let's peel
basketball
back the
courts.
layers on a
Never
story that I guarantee you will not be able
of
to
the
look away from.
entire
It all
tournament.
started with a seemingly small detail. Something that, if you were just walking through life, you might have missed
On a tennis
entirely.
court, with a
But
mere
the thing
idea of a
is,
homegrown
David didn't
player
miss it. He caught it. And when he caught it, the whole world shifted. David and his wife,
cracking
Sarah,
a Grand
had
Slam
been
main draw
together
used
for
to feel
over a
like wishful
decade.
thinking,
They were the kind of couple that others looked at with envy, a little bit of admiration,
let alone
and maybe
becoming
just a
the
tiny
single
pinch of
biggest story.
jealousy. They were the quintessential modern couple. She was a successful marketing
What happened,
executive,
and her name is
always in
Eala.
control, always dressed to the nines. He was a freelance graphic designer, the creative one, the one with the slightly more chaotic schedule, but the heart of gold. They had built a beautiful little life in a charming brick house
Of
on a
2026
tree-lined
is the kind of
street.
run that gets
They had
etched
a dog named Buddy, an exuberant golden retriever who was convinced he was a lap dog and whose sole purpose in life was to chase tennis balls and greet David at the door
in
with a
any other
wagging
year.
tail
That
and
alone would have been the
power
headline.
small city. To the outside world, they were the picture of
Before her,
contentment.
being
And for
seated at a
while,
Grand Slam
David
at all.
believed it too. He believed in the quiet evenings on the porch, the Sunday morning pancake rituals. The
Instead,
inside
it turned
jokes
out to
that
be
only
nothing
they
more
understood.
than the opening
He believed in the promise of forever that they had whispered to each other all those years ago. But there was a crack in the foundation.
one of the hottest grass
A
court
hairline
stretches of her
fracture that
career,
was slowly,
having
subtly widening. It wasn't a huge, dramatic thing, not at first. It was in the way Sarah held her phone a little too
all the way
close
to the
her chest.
semifinals in
The
Berlin,
new
where she took
passcode on
down
her laptop, the vague explanations about late meetings at work that had never been a part of her routine before. It was a collection of tiny, insignificant moments that didn't quite add up. But David,
Mexico's
being a
Renata
creative,
Zarazua,
saw
and
the
she handled
world
it
in
with
patterns.
almost business-like
And
efficiency.
the patterns he was starting to see were beginning to form a picture he didn't like. The breaking point, the moment where the crack became a canyon, was an ordinary Tuesday. Sarah was in the shower, her phone charging on the kitchen counter.
That was the
David
version
was
of
making
Eala who
coffee.
showed up on Wimbledon.
The ritualistic grind of the beans and the gurgle of the machine, the soundtrack to his morning. He heard the familiar buzz of an incoming notification from her phone. It was a quiet sound,
The
a
kind
low
people bring up
vibration
years
against
later with the
marble
same
counter.
reverence.
But for some reason, it pierced through the morning haze. He
This
didn't
wasn't
mean to
some
look.
fluke hot
He
streak, but a
really
player
didn't.
stepping into an entirely
He
new
prided
gear.
himself on being a trusting husband, but his eyes just drifted, and a preview of a message was glowing on the lock screen. The message was from a contact simply
Number that
named
would stop
Kay.
most people
It
cold.
wasn't the name
But
itself
she
that
was
snagged
only
his
getting
attention,
started.
but the text he glimpsed. It read, "Did you pick up the package? The one for the appointment."
Dropping
That was
barely a
weird
game,
thing to read
cashing
at
in on a
7:15
first-round
in the
payday
morning.
north of 80,000.
Appointment? What kind of appointment required a package? He brushed it off, a simple rationalization. It was probably a work thing, a client appointment, a vendor sending a sample. His mind, always eager to find the benign
£1,000,
explanation,
somewhere around
scrambled
$6.5
to make
million
sense of it. But the seed was planted. And as any gardener will tell you, once a seed is in the ground, it will eventually grow. He couldn't stop the mental cycle. The thought gnawed at him throughout the day. It crept into his editing session, making him lose his train of thought. It sat with him during his lunch break, his sandwich tasting like cardboard. He was a chronic overthinker by nature. It was both his blessing and his curse as an artist. But this time it felt different. This time,
Round 2
it
brought
felt
Australia's
like
Maya Joint,
self-preservation.
and this
He
one.
knew he had to know. He had to quiet the noise in his head, even if the answer was something he was terrified to hear. That evening, he made a decision. He wasn't proud of it. It was a violation of privacy, a breach of trust, a line that you're never supposed to cross in a healthy relationship. But he was no longer in a healthy relationship, he realized. He was in a strange, unsettling limbo where the ground beneath his feet didn't feel solid anymore. While Sarah was in the living room, engrossed in her latest reality TV obsession, he sat on the edge of their bed, her phone in his trembling hands. He typed in her passcode, the birth date
Two
of
top
their
10
beloved
players
dog,
back to back.
Buddy,
A run that told you
and felt his heart jackhammer against his ribs. The phone unlocked, and the floodgates opened. He navigated to the message thread with K. It wasn't a long conversation, but what was there sent a cold, hard fist straight through his chest. It confirmed his worst fears. The other person was a man, a personal trainer at a gym he'd never been to from the sound of it. They were planning to meet. And she wasn't talking about meeting for a workout. It was over drinks. It was happening the following night. The messages were flirty, coded, full of little emojis that felt like knives in his heart. But David didn't lose his cool. He didn't start crying or smashing things. No, a terrifying calm washed over him. It was the calm of someone who had just been
claimed
given
her
all
second
the pieces
WTA
of a
title in
puzzle
Birmingham
they weren't
and then
sure
pushing
they wanted to solve. His mind, sharp and analytical in that moment, realized that Sarah leaving her phone in the other room wasn't a mistake. It was a calculated move. She didn't think he would go through it. And she was right, of course, because the David of a few months ago would have never even considered it. But that David was gone, replaced by a man who was about to be utterly and completely transformed. Instead of confronting her, he made